All right, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Hopefully, you can see me and everything is playing okay. So, thank you so much for joining me. Just using some different settings is all. And broadcasting to YouTube and LinkedIn as well as Facebook. Jans, I see you there. Awesome, Jans. Oh, good. So I'm not talking to myself. It's great to see. Hello to you. My name is Paul Tranny, and this is going to be really fun because we dive into basically, doing some compositing in Photoshop. So hopefully that works for you. Hello. Hello, everyone. Cool, Froja, see me on Facebook. Fantastic, we're going to dive into this. Just something I've been working on. Actually, I started on Friday, worked on it over the weekend, and I'm going to take some further steps with it this morning. Oh, Michelle, you are so nice. So I'm going to switch magically over to my desktop. I'm just going to share Photoshop with you. So let's kind of dive in now. All right. And I'm back. What's up, everybody? Just had to kick on the green screen, so I'm now kind of in the lower left, and here's sort of the start of the composite, as you can see. Grafka, how you doing? Good to see you here as well on YouTube. So yeah, this will be a lot of fun. So you can kind of see right here, this is kind of the initial image, like so, just of this ballerina, and we're going to kind of go through that process really fast. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well, Froja. Good to have you here. Marcus, hello. Awesome. Marcus, let's be friends, okay? So again, gorgeous image. It's going to work out pretty well. I typically just jump in, remove background, right? It's going to remove that background. Keep in mind there's just white back there, right? So that's typically how I will cut out someone, right? And then I'll have to tighten up a lot of this, especially around the hair. We'll do some refine edge. Yeah, refine that edge. Make that edge fine. I'll even do it between the fingers. You get the idea. That's how I would cut out this person, which is exactly what I did, all right? Again, I would clean this up. I already did a lot of this. Excuse me. And I do need to actually like cut out her like torso as well, because there's some edits that I want to make to this. But that's basically what I've done, is jumped in here, cut them out, cut her out, excuse me. And then I end up with different parts. So I'd actually cut her up a little bit more into separate little pieces, as you can see right here. Okay, so that's the idea. Keeping an eye on chat. Thank you so much, everyone. Maybe audio and video are good. I wish I could view this full screen, but that works. All right. Yeah, sure. Okay. Cool. Awesome. So that's kind of how that's done. Let me kind of click through this now. So I'm going to turn that off. That was just trying to get you caught up, because now I have the leg. Here's just this short leg. So what do? Go in there and I start adding elements to it, right? So let's just peel this back, if you will. Here's the initial short leg, okay? Keep in mind, I did have these different parts. What I did is I basically took a brush, right? We can do hit B for brush, right click, and then I'll go into these beautiful concept brushes. And from here, I would grab, I gotta take a look. I don't remember which one I used exactly. Maybe this concept foliage mixed dry. Yeah, that's the one I used. So that's how I kind of gave it this sort of rough look on the end, right? Just kind of getting rid of it like so, okay? Kind of ended up with that, and then we start adding the images. I'm going to continue to do this as well. You can see how all of those are placed. Oh, thanks, Michelle. You're too kind. Um, Harman, awesome. Thank you for free tutorials. I'm happy to provide them to you. So I had my sabbatical in January, so I had the month off, and one of the things I did is I cleaned up my library. So look at all these assets. Like this made it really easy to kind of jump in and say, hey, we want this. Not even the layer isn't even named, as it turns out, but we could drop in this sort of layer 4. And what I need to do is I probably need to make this more descriptive, so I would call this 3 leaves. So once I name it in here in my library, it's going to be renamed everywhere. So 3 leaves, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves, like that. You get the idea. Olive leaves, and this is 3 leaves option, something like that. Drop those in, just have some fun creating is what I'm gonna do. So ultimately, just so you know, Michelle and everyone else, is I'm going to animate this because it's begging to be animated. Look at these, by the way. Look at those guys hanging out there. Yeah, that one doesn't need to be there. If you ever need to locate a graphic, just go ahead and just do an option. Is it option? Sorry, it is command, and then click on it, and it highlights that layer. See what I'm doing? Jumping, highlights that layer. Another thing I can do is if I don't know where something is, like this layer 4, where the heck is it? Option click on the layer, and it takes you right to that layer, like you can see. Command 0, jump back out. Okay, so I locate that green branch, shabam. I need to take both of these, and I'm going to put these in the background. What workspace is this? This is Photoshop. Thank you for asking. This is Photoshop. I am in the latest version of Photoshop, 23.11. So I'm working in Photoshop. Okay, so here's this lovely leg. I have that part done. Okay, it's not ever really going to be done, not for a long time. But let's turn on other parts. Let's turn on, say, for instance, the long leg. Here's the long leg. Let's even turn off the short leg. So you can see all of these elements and a shadow there. But even in here, I can command click on that butterfly. Butterfly I'm going to put in a different layer. So let's just do that. Let's just do that. But it's the same concept of having everything kind of pop out of that leg. We could see this element, which happens to be this flower branch right here, which worked out pretty well. What's going to give this a little bit more depth is just if I start adding some depth by brushing. So hit B, right click. Let's just go up here. We're just going to add a soft round. Hello, we're going to use a regular brush. And I'm just going to paint kind of behind it just to make this flower stand off a little bit more. So again, just kind of adding that shadow to make sure it stands out from the background behind it. Marsha, what a great surprise to see you here as well. Sorry if I'm not seeing the chat. I see there are some people commenting. I'm also live on Behance as well. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. Just checking things. There we are. Okay, out on Twitter. I see you there on Twitter. I'm loading that up in a second as well. All right, so right in here, this is just a shadow. So I'll just type in shad. That's all this is, shad. Like so. You get the idea. There we go. All right. Yeah. Let's kind of see some of these elements. Anytime you're working, you might know Harry Ruthford, happy Valentine's Day to you. I'm doing a very loving image, I think. I can click there. I'm going to lock this shad because I don't want to accidentally click it. I'm going to click right here. Ooh, I can see that's the pink orchid, right? So I can do an option click on the eyeball, and that isolates it. See? That is massive. Look at that big. It looks kind of big. But I have this shading, probably that's covering up a lot of that. But basically I'm just showing you kind of how to navigate around a Photoshop file. Oh, Afrosia, that's what I'm talking about. Let's get all the flowers in there. So this looks pretty cool, you know, so far. Let's turn on the head. Let's turn on the short leg, right? And we can start to see this body kind of come together like so. I'm trying to decide if maybe I take the torso and I have the flowers follow the curve of the torso a little more. So let's take a look at that. Remember our torso back here, right? This is what we cut out earlier. It's really just going to be a guide, so I'm just going to apply this layer mask. Let's turn off everything. Option click. Jump in here. Quick selection tool. Grab the torso like so. Okay, and then mask it. Boom, there we are, right? Option click again, bring everything back, right? So now I have this torso that I could use as a guide. Let's bring it to the top and take a look in here. And yes, things are moving a little slow, and that's okay. Okay, good. Michelle likes that idea. The idea of the flowers following the curve of her torso, right? But I've done some repositioning of some of these elements. But I'm basically, this is going to be close enough. Like, let's kind of bring that over here. And then let's actually use, I did move the legs over apparently, and that's okay. Let's go in here. Let's use Puppet Warp. And let's just kind of warp this so it connects back to the legs. So kind of move that up like so, move that over like that. Like this is kind of the shape that I'm going for the flowers. Okay, kind of like that. There's my shape. All right, so let's see what happens as I work on this. Again, it might work, it might not. Hey. We'll just take a look. Even right in here. So what do we want to do? We want to take these flowers. We want to make sure these flowers right here, command click on those. Those are flower 2. I'm going to start using the Puppet Warp a lot, which is why I've made it a shortcut. So command, I do Control, Option, Command, P. I mash all 3 keys together, and then I hit P for Puppet Warp. Right? Oh, you could see 2 toes. Oh, that's so funny. There probably are. Thank you. So that's another thing I did in here. So let's just escape out of that. And let's find that, because I kind of pointed the toes because I didn't like it curved so much. So that is in there. And let's take a look. Let's turn that off. That should be that layer. Boom. Because I actually used Puppet Warp to stretch out the toes as well. All right, we're back up here. Let's take a look at the torso again. Let's bring this top. Let's Puppet Warp this a little bit more. Pin, pin, pin. Move, move, move. Haranman, good eye. Thank you so much. So it's going to go like that. So we need to make sure that's kind of like roughly connected. But mainly I'm keeping an eye on this curve here. All right. It's all pretty straightforward. If you're joining me elsewhere, feel free to say hello. So I just can't see the chat on Behance, and that's the problem. So go figure. All right, so here we are. Work on that opacity. Click. Puppet Warp. You guys get the idea, so I could just start playing around if you don't mind. Okay? Kind of like that. Okay, so Marsha, yeah, apparently I'm not streaming on Behance because that apparently does not work with a restream, which is also what I'm kind of testing out. Let's take this. This kind of has the curve of the body, and that's what I want to do. Kind of mimic maybe some of these curves. So again, puppet warp, boom, shaboom, shaboom, shaboom again. Pin that here, bring that in. So that's the idea. Just have it follow that curve. I need to fill up some of this space as well. There's lots of leaves down here, and I'm wondering if I need that many. Like, let's turn that off, turn that back on. You could see all of these leaves. Maybe I don't need that many, so I'm gonna probably play with this some more because I don't like how messy it got down here as well. Like, clearly is not working, right? So let's just clean that up. Sorry if I'm a little far away from the mic. All right. But yeah, look at all that. It's just a bunch of junk. Like, this is not working for me. And that's okay. Let's take that. Let's grab. I'm going to jump this layer. We're going to have two of these layers. I'm going to turn off one. I'm basically going to divide up these leaves into two different parts, sort of the hair and then the rest of the body. Let's take that. Invert the selection, fill with foreground color, and they all disappear right down here. Okay. Same thing for this one. Hopefully this is making sense. Right over here, let's fill this with black. And all these leaves are going to disappear. Boom, they're gone. Perfect. I just separated them out. Do a little cleanup. Oh, good. Everything's crystal clear. That's good. Yeah, and I'm kind of showing you the parts that are kind of messed up. You know, some of these parts kind of have issues. Yeah, so let's turn on this. This is my tree branch and all those leaves. The question is, how does this look? Let's turn off her torso. You know, like, let's move this around a little bit, because I'm thinking I want this to kind of be more contained within the body rather than just being this clump beneath her, right? In fact, we can take these leaves and have it fill out her torso a little bit more. So let's do that. Let's flip vertically. As I take a drink of my delicious blueberry coffee today. This blueberry coffee's good. All right. And this is all moving, like, honestly, this is moving pretty darn slow. What do we have going on here? Right, and this is a case where typically, you know, I'm kind of working on the head right now. I can kind of turn off other parts just so I get a clearer vision of what I'm trying to do. Let's crank this up. What do we got here? What do we have here? And what are we going to use? Okay, I think I found the part I want to use. I think I want to use this part right here. So I'll hit X. I'll start masking out with black. We'll get rid of this top part. And then try to find a clear line, like right in here. There's a line. We'll to get rid of all this stuff. Kind of like that. Cool. The flowers you choose for this. Okay, the flowers look good. So that's a good point because like I want to use different flowers, but I want to I don't want to throw, I mean, at least for me, I don't want to throw a ton of colors just yet. I try to be mindful of the color of the flowers as I work, just so you know. Okay, so let's move this down. Oops. So I'm using my flowers basically have pinks. I could probably throw some bright yellows in there to kind of make it pop. That would be fun. We got some weirdness happening right here, as we can see. This is weirdness. Oh, it happens to be on that layer. It's because it needs to be underneath the head. So let's move that down. Sure enough, it disappears. Even this part, you know, it gets a little funky in there. But it's not bad. Like, that's the shape that we're going for, right? Kind of wrapping around the body. We'll even move it down. There we go. Maybe moving it above those. This one's just kind of hanging out. Look at that. Yeah. Option, click on the layer, zoom right to it. Okay, let's take that, let's rotate it around and make sure it's just kind of falling like so, or at least part of this somehow like that. Yeah, the flowers, pastel shades look good. Oh, good to hear. Yeah, I'm trying to, I think sort of pinks, like what color isn't working? Like, look, what happened here, Paul? This got way too dark. These black leaves. It's because I wanted it dark back here, but I obviously like painted a little bit too much on the top right here. So let's take that hue. Let's see if it has any color to it. Let's colorize it. So I'm just colorizing these. Let's lighten them up, flip it over. You get the idea. There we go. Now those aren't like black holes there. To be honest with you, like I'm gonna animate this, and that brings up a ton of questions in terms of like how I'm putting this together. Currently, I'm making a still image, but if I want to animate this, I do have to think about all this kind of like differently. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. All right. But yeah, I could do this all day. See, look at this, huge. And let's just jump in here. Don't mind me. This chunk. Put some butterflies in there. So the short of it is, Afroja, I have some animated butterflies that I'm going to use in After Effects to kind of have them flutter around. Maybe. It's either that or birds. But I already have some assets that I can use. So some of these still images are going to get replaced by animated video. Is that a thing? You'd think video would be like inherently animated, but Everything's moving a little slow. I apologize for that. Even for these leaves, I'm going to have all these leaves falling, but the question is, do I have to animate all of that? That's going to be so much work if I decide to animate each individual leaf. So there has to be an easier way. That's all I wanted there. To make this animated. To animate all the different leaves. So that's what I'm just kind of thinking about. A little red. This may or may not work. That's okay. Let's try it at least. Heck, let's take these. X, V. Boom. Adding just like a splash of color, trying to decide if I need some red up near the top up here. Like so. Let's push it back. Make sure it's within the head region, so the head folder. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing this fine Monday. Oh, it's just work. Just working away. Trying to find the right parts. Trying to make something cool so you're entertained. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been streaming for about 27 minutes now. Yeah. And largely it's going to just kind of be more of this. Hopefully I'll get this at a point where it's going to be animated, and then I will share it. See, that's what I want to do. Kind of cover up this, rather than being this big blotch of red, I needed to throw this in there and make it a little bit more interesting. Let's make sure it's going to be over so we don't get that. We get some weirdness in here. Let's fix that. Let's take down the lightness a little bit. Something like that. And then you kind of figure out which part you like best, right? I'm kind of into, well, first off, there needs to be some falling leaves in here, definitely. But I like the depth when I start painting in there. That starts to look pretty darn good. So I might do more of that. And I like this branch here. Command click on it, jump that layer, move this up, bring that in there like that. That's all I needed to do. Let's paint. Okay. Oh, Yahweh, thank you so much. You're too kind. So the problem is this is too conformed right in here. I love hidden line. We want to keep track of her torso. Like, let's just take a look at it. Okay, so her torso cuts in right here. So this flower, I feel like I need to move this flower in here. So we'll try that. Command click, locates the layer, puppet warp, add some pins. Grab this one, and we'll just like move it more into where her body would be. And see if that kind of gives it just more of an elegant look overall. It's kind of emphasizing her spine. All right, Michelle, looks great. Good to hear. There we are. Okay, so yeah, I am broadcasting on Twitter as well. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tiago. There we go. Cool. Okay, good. So that, notice how that little change, like, that really helped this. because we're still maintaining the structure of her body. We want to have some broken parts. We want our eye to be able to kind of weave in and out. But I really like how, actually I'd even love a little bit more disconnect. But these are just some design decisions you're going to have to make. So let's click right here. Let's see if we can get rid of, see if this looks good. Let's just get rid of this right here, this chunk. Yeah, so I don't know what you think. But I think this type of composition is just begging for motion, to be honest with you. It's begging for those falling leaves and all sorts of things. So that's what I'm going to do. I, luckily enough, have... Ooh, here's my leaves background. You ready for this? I'm going to turn this on. Here's my leaves background. Turning this on. Wait for it. There we go. Now that's what it needed. Needed all these like falling leaves kind of coming down and breaking it up, right? Tends to work pretty well. Looks like there's that branch that I did not know was there. And again, these look similar, so let's just like distort this one at least. Wait for it. I wonder how many layers this has. Let's take a look. Uh, 83 layers. I'm just looking, I know it's behind my head, but right down here, you can change this to your layer count or whatever else you want. I don't know why I like just keeping track of the layers, but I do. There we go. We can bring that up like so, and we'll rotate it a little bit. All right, so what I want is I want all these leaves falling. But let me show you this. I'm going to go into my brushes because there's a bunch of brushes I've made. So we have these leaves. And if we go into our brush settings, we can just check. And this is what it's going to look like. It's going to scatter them. So that's what I've been using basically to just have some fun scatter brushes. This is only going to be for the still image because this all needs to be replaced by the animated leaves, whatever I do there. So I'm just got to think about that. Okay, so let's have it bounce between colors. A light color and then a light green and then a darker green. Okay. We'll go into brush settings. We're going to make sure that color dynamics is turned on. So it's going to bounce between the foreground color and the background color. That's about it. So let's just kind of see what that looks like. Let's increase the size. So there's my, so if I click, see there's going to be, the size varies wildly. You could click or you could click and drag, right? This doesn't have enough spacing. So if I space this out, if I scatter it a little bit more, but kind of just adding a few more leaves falling. And what I could also try, let's make a new layer. Let's try this now on this new layer, and we'll put this in the very background. I'm going to add some more leaves. and make it a smart object, and let's blur it. Let's do a filter blur. Gaussian blur. Like, do I think about like adding depth to it? So maybe they're blurry back there, and then do we have some in the foreground where I have like maybe some blurry elements? Does that even make any sense? First of all, they got to be larger. But again, we'll try it. Okay, Michelle, you like it with the blurred and detailed leaves. Let's just rasterize this. I mean, if these leaves are going to be in the front really big, I'd want to use actual leaves rather than a brush. A brush is great if you need to create a lot of something and they don't need a lot of detail. But honestly, for something like this, I would literally jump in and start adding my own leaves and blurring them out. So yeah, basically it's a whole lot of hard work. You know? I mean, grabbing this, pulling it out, giving it a blur. Like so. See, doesn't that look so much better than these ones? Looks so much better. So that's something I'll think about. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know if I'm crazy about it. Because it's really good like this as well. So another thing, and this will be the last thing I'm gonna cover, just so you know. Okay, yes, it does look better. Right? And again, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. It just needs to be a little bit more subtle. The thing is if there's all these leaves, the leaves are supposed to come from her, and she's just kind of sort of traveling up, or these leaves and stuff falling down. So they're not projecting out toward you or behind you. So that's why I'm like not crazy about it, but I love the idea of the depth, right? So that's where I'm at. Let's go into gradients, by the way. So let's kind of figure out what would be a good background for this, okay? So let's jump in here, checking out the gradients, checking out our time. I'll probably just finish this up in the next 5 minutes, at least this stream, because man, this is going a little bit slow, and I don't know why. So we'll try a couple different backgrounds and see what you're interested in. You know, that one's not bad because I love how like warm it is, and it's green. Actually, it makes her look a little bit darker. Then we're going to dip into blues. Okay, so like a sky blue. There's blue sky. Is that reading okay on the stream? Again, when I look at it on my other screens, it seems like she gets a little bit darker. So that's kind of where. Okay, into the gradient. Good, good, good. By the way, I would actually go back into my libraries because I have a ton of images too. So flowers and plants, let's close that. Full nature images. And just take a look at some of these. Like maybe clouds or a sky will work. I don't know. Maybe. But it's something that I would at least try out. You know. You know, something kind of like that. That looks pretty good. Right, a little bit of color. I feel like I need to flip it. So it highlights, still kind of highlights her head. Kind of like that, I don't know. Thoughts? I think that's kind of cool. All right, so there it is. This is my Mother Nature composition. She's going to be falling. The idea is like, as she travels, basically she leaves a trail of life, a trail of nature and plants and flowers and trees and stuff like that. Haruman, you're in the sky. Good to hear, right? Yeah. And I'd probably too much cool. Oh, he's so nice. Okay, so that's it. Just so you know, I'm going to do a live stream on like animating a PSD coming up within a couple weeks. So I want to take a composition like this. The PSD, here's your static image, and how do you animate it? How do you prep your PSD file? And how do you make it easy on yourself? Because there's going to be a lot of leaves. Like, how can I make that even more efficient and everything? Yeah, I kind of see her rising as well, sort of rising up from the earth and leaving all these flowers. Totally into it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Really appreciate you guys. And Tiago, Marsha, Michelle, Froja, everyone, Hariman. And thanks for joining me this fine Monday. So have a good one, and stay tuned for more things like this from me. And yeah, everybody have a great day. We'll be in touch. Oh, also, by the way, if you need a logo created, let me help, just so you know. I posted on Twitter and elsewhere. But if you need a logo, I'll be doing a live stream on how to create a logo. So if you have a business, just go ahead and DM me. Would love to hear. So yeah, would love to hear if you guys need a logo. Just hit me up through the social medias, and if I pick yours, I might need you to record a short video, and then I'll show it on a live stream. So that's the plan. Let me know what you'd like to see. Thanks so much, everybody, and I will see you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye, everybody. See ya.